Good morning, everybody. So in today's video, we're going to make some cheddar herb bread, and we're going to make a sandwich out of it, and we're going to take it to the park and have lunch. So I'm going to start by getting my bowl here. And in my recipe here, it says to start with, this is a different kind of bread. I've never made this one before, so we're making it together for the first time. So 3/4 of warm whole milk. Put that right in. Just need to get my measuring spoons here. Then, let's see here. 2 tablespoons of honey. Let's mix that around before we add the yeast in. Give you a little bit of a closer look on what I'm doing here. Just mixing up the honey here. Okay, then it says 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. 1, 2, and 1/4. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, and we're just going to mix this together. And it says to let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes just to activate the yeast. So we're just going to let that sit. It's been 5 minutes, so the next ingredient is 3 eggs. I'm going to put them right in here. Oh, did I get the shell in there? I didn't. Good. And beat this up. Okay, and then it says 3 1/2 to 4 cups of flour. Start with one at a time here. I have a busy week this week. My son is graduating high school this coming week, so it's pretty busy in my house. I'm very proud of him and I'm super excited. That's 3. Oh. I always forget to put my apron on. Get mess everywhere. Okay, I'm going to mix this with my hands now. It's getting to that stage. We're going to add another 1/2 cup here. Needs a little bit more, I think. Okay, let's roll this out. It says to knead it for about 5 minutes or until everything is completely incorporated. Need some more flour here. This dough is quite sticky. break up some of the gluten in it. Sticking to my hands here. So we're just going to sit here and knead this. It's very nice, soft, pliable dough. It's really nice. I don't want to add too much flour, so I'm only doing it a little bit at a time here. Okay, I think this is almost good enough. We're going to put it in the bowl. Normally I wash the bowl, but I am going to just put the oil right into it. I think that'll be fine. Super busy day today, so cut a little bit of corners here. I'm just going to coat it right in, just so it doesn't stick. There we go. And then it says to let it raise for an hour and 15 minutes approximately. So that's what we're going to do. That's done. I think we can get ready to do the herb and cheese mixture. I think I'm going to put some jalapenos in this one. I usually freeze my jalapenos. I have them diced. This is from last year. Okay, so in the bowl, I'm going to, it says to use 2 different kinds of cheese, whatever kind you like. These are left over from a previous recipe, so I'm going to put some mozzarella in. Good way to use up the extra cheese I had. Some sharp cheddar. Use some double cheddar that I have here. It says you need about 2 cups of cheese. Yes, about 2 cups of one kind and another cup of another. So we're just going to add mostly cheddar in this one. Cheddar and some mozzarella. I think that's good. I'm going to let these thaw and we'll add this into the mixture later. It shouldn't take too long to thaw. There's not very much in here. Okay, now I need to get some of my herbs. For this recipe, it calls for some basil, so we're going to pick some of our basil here. Help my plants too. So they, oh, I just ripped that one out. Sorry. Let's get a few more here. I have a lot of this growing in the garden as well, so. And then we need some thyme, so we're gonna get some of this. Some parsley. And then we're gonna chop it up, put it in the bread. I was just checking over my recipe and it calls for 2 cloves of garlic too. So we're gonna add that into the mixture here. And then all we do is mix this together, and then we mix this and put this inside the bread once it's done raising. Let me just mix that here. Looks delicious. And that's what it should look like. So now we just need to wait for the hour to finish for the raising, and then we'll put it all together. I think that our bread is done raising. Looks like that. I'm just going to get a pan here. I figured I would spray it right away. Get a different one. So I'm just going to spray it with some cooking spray. Okay, so I'm just going to spray this pan. Oh, I forgot I had the fan on. Let me do this in front of the sink. Okay, I've sprayed the pan. Now we're going to put the herb mixture, the herb and cheese mixture, into our bread. Let me just get a little bit of flour in case we need it. Okay. Make sure my surface is nice. And then I'm just going to take it out. Oh, it's nice and pliable. It's good. Okay, so according to the instructions here, I'm literally supposed to just push it out like this and just start pouring it in, apparently. And I'm supposed to fold each layer into it. I don't think we're going to need the flour. It's pretty oily from the oil from the bowl. I want to try and use all the mixture. Just following what the recipe tells me here. Oh, I think I forgot to add the jalapenos. It's okay, we'll add them next time. I'll put them in the fridge and use them for a different recipe. Doesn't have to have jalapenos in it, I just thought it would have been nice. Trying to knead some of this in here because there's a lot of it. Looks really good though, really delicious. Let me look at my recipe here for a second and see if this needs to raise again. Okay, it says 15 minutes after this. I think it's just to help it plump up again, basically. We'll see if we're able to make a sandwich out of this. Hopefully we can. I mean, that's the plan, so we're going to attempt it. There, I think that's good. So I'm going to put this back in the pan, and then we're just going to let it raise for another 15 minutes, and then we'll bake it for 30 minutes. So I will show you after it's done baking, okay? There we go. Hopefully the cheese doesn't burn when it's baking, but I guess we'll see, right? Okay, I'll see you when it's done. I thought while we were waiting for the bread to finish raising and baking, I would prep what I'm going to put in my sandwich. I am going to make a very basic sandwich, bacon and tomato sandwich. It's one of my favorites. So this is what we're going to take to the park. So I figured I would just prep the slices and cook the bacon. Three slices should be good. And then we'll go cook the bacon. It's very hot here today, so I have the fan on if you see things blowing around. I might cook a couple extra pieces just for the soup that I'm going to make for dinner tonight too. So let's go cook the bacon. Okay, this is our bread that's raising right here. I just pushed it off to the side. I'm not going to put any oil in this pan. Bacon is oily enough. I try to use the least amount of oil as possible. So we'll cook the whole half a package here. Just kind of separate it a bit. Pan's not hot yet. It's getting there. How do you like your bacon cooked? I like mine like a medium. I don't like it too crunchy where you bite into it and it's just crunch. I like it with a little bit of chewiness and a little bit of crunch. I think that's the best. My fiance, on the other hand, likes it so it's so crisp it's almost burnt. So we're gonna let this cook, and then I'm gonna put it on some paper towel. Just gonna add a little bit of pepper. Just let that crisp up a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to put it on my paper towel here. Get some of the grease off. And then I'm just going to let these cool while we wait for the bread. Now everything's done and we can just put the sandwich together. There we go. So I just took the herb and cheddar bread out of the oven, and oh my god, look at how big it is. It's huge. I did not expect this. Let's cut into it. Okay, so let's take this out of the pan. It's huge. Oh my gosh, it raised so much in the oven. It's a little bit hot still, so I just want to... Let's wait, I might need to cut around. The cheese might have stuck to the sides here, let's see. Oh, it's nice and soft too. Yeah, the cheese stuck to the sides a little bit. I'm just going to cut around here. Now let's see if this will come out. Ooh, that's hot. See if I can get this out without wrecking it. It's so beautiful. Oh, it did stick to the sides, the cheese. Okay, I'll get this out and then I will show you. Mangled the sides of it a little bit trying to get it out, but I got it out. So I'm going to try and cut a piece here. Let's hope it stays together. It's so delicious. I think this would be great as a pull-apart kind of bread too. Oh, look how fluffy. Look how fluffy that is. Oh my gosh, this is going to be delicious. Okay. Need to make sure this fits in my toaster. I'm going to put it in my toaster. There we go. Dang, that's gorgeous. Looks beautiful. Smells good. Okay, I'm going to toast these and then we can put the sandwich together. Okay, so I toasted my bread. I'm gonna make a very, very basic sandwich. If you hear the door opening in the background, my children are home. Now I'm going to add some tomato. I'm going to put some pepper on it and some salt. A little bit more pepper. And then we're going to add some of our bacon. One more piece. The rest we'll put in the soup. And then top it. This was the end of the bread. I don't mind the ends. I know lots of people don't like them, but I don't mind them. And then I'm going to cut this in half. And since I'm taking this to the park, looks beautiful, I'm going to put it in some parchment paper. So let me get some parchment paper here. There we go. Now we can go to the park. We are at the park where I live. This is called the Claytonay Park. It's a very beautiful park. Flower beds everywhere. It extends way, way over there. Way, way over there. This park is probably 1 or 2 city blocks. It's huge. So I'm just getting ready to eat lunch here. And then after lunch, I will show you a little bit more of the park. This is our entertainment pavilion. I'll show you the front of it later. This bread is so good. The herbs are so delicious and flavorful. It's really good. I recommend making it. So we're done lunch. Just wanted to give you a shot of these beautiful old trees that we have in this park. They're huge. I'll show you the pavilion. They hold performances for Canada Day here, special performances in the summer, stuff like that. It's huge. People usually line up and sit down here with their lawn chairs and stuff and watch. This is what it looks like. Some more of our park. And this park just so happens to be right next to a river, so I'm going to show you that now. I was on my way to show you the river, but I really wanted to show you this beautiful tree. Look how big it is. Some of these trees are like hundreds and hundreds of years old. So we have this walking trail right next to the park. And right here is our river. This is the Fraser River. We have park benches and lunch benches there. You can sit here right next to the park, right next to the river. I'm very fortunate to live where I do. It's so beautiful here. Thought you might enjoy that. It's beautiful. One of our benches here. You just sit on it and you can see everything. It's gorgeous. This is one of my favorite parks. Such a beautiful day outside, and I'm glad you guys came along with me and seen this beautiful park and made our herb and cheddar bread. This is where I'm going to end the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.